All right, well, anyway, thank you to Cindy for inviting me to be here and to talk about my art. And the first thing I want to say is I thank God every day for the gift He's given me, because I love to draw, I love to look at the beauty and to transfer it in my way to something that I can share, and I really enjoy sharing that. So that said, I'm going to show you a lot of images. How many ways can you draw St. Matthews? You'll see some of them that I thought that I could have brought, but this is a good sample. And then I'll show one of the other things I really love to do is make note cards with religious images on them, so I'll show some of those. So, going to the next one. This is the image that is most reproduced that I drew, and I made this in 2003. I wanted to have a print to sell at the Afternoon Tea Boutique, which had just started the year before. We had raised funds for our outreach center by having this fundraiser. And so I took the photos across the street in Marion Square, which was very barren at the time. If you can remember back when it was just flat, there was nothing there. Now it's lovely. But that was good for me because I could stand across the street and take photos, snapping from one side to the other so that I got the whole thing in, and I really wanted to get the community outreach center in the image too. So it's a little bit wider. Most images of St. Matthew's just go straight up along skinny things, but this one includes it all. This was pen and ink, and I added watercolor, and it's been used for cookbook covers and calendars and everything. So then, let's see, I'll give you a little history. I have been drawing since I can remember, and I remember adults hovering over me and watching. And in school, the teachers would choose me to draw images of what we were studying about and put on bulletin boards. The one I remember was Baltimore Orioles. For some reason, we were learning about those birds. Oh, not the team, though. And I got to go out the hallway and stick them up while everybody else was doing their work, so that was cool. And then I went on to high school. I took every art class available and went to St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota. Any Olafs here? No? Mark and I met there, and we graduated. I had a degree in art and education. So we moved to Chicago, where we're both from, got married and had 2 kids, and let's see what else about. Oh, I taught elementary school art there, and then we moved to New York, and also after that to Dallas. Dallas, I also taught elementary school art. In between, in New York and Connecticut, I did custom sewing for interior designers, so it was still kind of artsy, but not drawing. So then I did drawing all along, but it wasn't until Charleston when we moved here that, you know, there's just so much art going on here that I wanted to paint. So, but I hadn't done that since I was in college, so I started doing some painting too. So see a little bit of that. So then you can switch to that one. That one is one of the windows that you'll see in the sanctuary. It's not a very After I drew this, this was used on the Easter Bulletin that year, and people said, where is that window? Because it's it's on the lower level and on the north side of the building, so it's very shaded and not the one that you see right away, so I was glad to give it some exposure. But anyway, Doug had been using for the bulletin covers just copyright-free art from, I remember the one that had Albrecht Dürer's print of the resurrection on it, but he asked me if I would come up with something different, and I knew that he meant, researching something, photocopying it, and passing it on. But I thought, well, I'll just draw something. So I took photos of this window and went home and drew it in pen and ink because, of course, it's cheaper to reproduce, make copies of things in black and white. And it's been used several times. And So then I was on a roll. That was a hit. So this is just a detail. The window was really cool. I like how dynamic the figures are. And in the background, you can see a city on one side, but you can see the tomb and an angelic figure in it. And there's just a lot of detail to look at these things. You could stare at them a long time. And then the next one is, the next two windows I drew, I don't have images of those because they're very tall. They're too tall for my scanner, so I'll have to bring them here and use the church machine to reproduce those. But one is the Annunciation window, and the other one is the Nativity window, and they're on either side of the organ on the front side of the building. And they're very tall, the most tall skinny ones, so you have to have a tall bulletin to fit those on. But they were used for the candlelight service bulletin and Christmas Eve. And let's see, but this one is the Pentecost window, and that's also in the gallery on the lectern side. And that one, I just was inspired to make a drawing of that one, and that's been used for the Pentecost bulletin covers, Pentecost Sunday. And let's see. And the next one, this is the last one I have a picture of. This is the Last Supper, Holy Communion, and this was used for Monday, Thursday bulletin a number of times. And having looked at all these, I'm now feeling like I'd like to draw another window because it's been quite a while since I've done one. So maybe there are 3 windows that depict Martin Luther. So I was thinking for his birthday, or actually the 500th year of the nailing of the feces on the door is coming in October, so maybe I'll do one of the Martin Luther ones. And the next one, this is a lot quicker and easier to draw. It's just a small image, and this was used for Good Friday, the Good Friday bulletin cover for several times. And I don't know how I thought of this really, but I put palms in the center of the cross. We start Holy Week with Palm Sunday, Passion Sunday, and then move on to the crucifixion. And it looks complicated, but it really isn't. The crown of thorns, I've taught 1st and 2nd graders to do that. They do a good job. I teach Sunday school, and so I try lots of things with them that you think, wow, they can't do it, but they're amazing. So then the next one, when I came here, I thought, well, we live downtown, and I took lots of photos of buildings and churches, and I was going to make rubber stamps out of them because I like to do rubber stamping. And so this one I did, and several other churches and other Charleston buildings. But I took them to the Historical Society kind of stores, and they just didn't get it. You know, one was like, what do you do with these? I said, oh, you stamp, you know, you do rubber stamping. No, there were just, you know, that was it. So that was the last of my career. I'm not a very good salesperson. But this is a useful image. Bob has used it recently.
How do you show depth on a rubber stamp?
Pardon me?
That's right.
How do you show depth on a rubber stamp?
Well, one of the problems with mine was I put too much detail in them. Rubber stamps, the best ones, have thicker lines, you know, they really make an impression. These are very delicate, although it still works. I've used this one on tiles that I get at Lowe's and made posters out of them. I have to put the image, the church, on it diagonally to make it fit, but it's just the drawing, and the rubber stamp company is good at getting all those little lines in there as much as possible. Okay. Then the next one, this is the cover of Doug Ludlam's book that he wrote about his experience in Hurricane Hugo, staying in the church pretty much, right? And it's called A Church, a Dog, and a Monster Storm, so I had to get his dog in there. Bessie. Bessie. And this one, I cheated a little bit to make it fit on the cover of the book and squashed the church down. It's not too noticeable, but it isn't really to scale the skinny height of it. And then the next one of our past pastors had an idea that he wanted to have auto window decals, a peel-off kind, and asked me to make a kind of a logo for that. So this was it, although that project never got off the ground, but this design has been used for the certificates that we give, Order of St. Matthews to acolytes who do a really good job. So it has its fame there, I guess. Now, the next one is a very tiny painting. It's only 8 by 10. And we were driving down King Street, south on King Street, and I just took some pictures, as we were going. And although it's kind of a strange picture because it's got so much sky, that's the only way you can do it at the height of the church. You've got to have it tall enough. But just an interesting thing to do. And shortly after that, the steeple and the building were under construction and all wrapped in plastic and scaffolding and everything. So it's kind of nice to look at this picture and see what it would look like again when you drove down King Street. And the next one is image mostly of a camellia bush that is in our courtyard, which was planted in about 1944, 1945, and it's still there. And it's still healthy, I presume. I think it bloomed this year. And there's a story too. Well, it was planted by James Eichel, who's a member, and his son Eric likes to tell the story, so I'd rather have him tell you sometime about that. But it's just kind of amazing that it's been blooming for so long, and it didn't bloom until all the children in the family came home from other parts of the world where they were. So. That one I was volunteering at respite care, which used to be housed in this room, and we decided to take the participants outside. And one of the college student volunteers was taking pictures of that beautiful bush, and it was in bloom. So I thought, why not? I took some pictures, and that photo I particularly liked, so I made it into a painting. The owner is here.
I'm the owner.
And then the next one, when we first moved to Charleston, we lived downtown, and I like to walk around and take pictures of the buildings, as I mentioned before. And I just, this photo that I took, I liked it because of all the layers of the buildings. The front one is the Unitarian Church, and then the white one behind it is St. John's. They're both at Archdale and Clifford, I think, right? So, and that's a small painting too, it's not very big. And then the next one is another Lutheran church, so like Pastor Jim said, they all have their beauty, and I think this is an attractive church. This is Advent Lutheran Church in North Charleston, and a woman who was a member there asked me to draw pen and ink of it. So. Oh, I forgot to mention the paintings before. One, the camellia one is acrylic, and the King Street one is also acrylic. Well, I have, that's a good one. Okay. The one on the black and white one was drawn in pen and ink. You've seen that one before. And I decided to add color to it and alter it a little bit to make an Easter design from the Good Friday design. So that's been used mostly for note cards, Easter cards, even for sympathy notes. It's nice to have a pretty image on the front. And that's all I have to say about that. But you can see the changes. And the next one is an Easter or Easter design, I guess. I made it when I was writing a thank you note to a young seminary student, and I didn't have anything appropriate, so I just drew it. And then reproduce. I love to reproduce. I love to do a drawing that can be used over and over again. It just makes it more worth it. But anyway, it's kind of a Celtic design with the overlapping, it's like ribbons kind of braided together. Oh, and this is drawn with ink and I call it Prismacolor. That's actually a brand name, but they're just very high-end colored pencils. And I have a set that has 120 colors, like lots of shades of gray too. But, that's that one. Then the next one, Carol Johnson, he's not here today. She and I and several others work on the afternoon tea boutique and the Christmas boutique. And for the Christmas one, Carol had this big idea of having men's ties and ladies' scarves made with Lutheran symbols on it. So she researched it. Well, it turned out to be extremely costly to get these made, so we scrapped that idea. But I still have the image, so that's available in cards too. And, there are lots of versions of Martin Luther's rose on, go to Google Images and you see different ones, but I just want to make my own, so that's it. Then the next one is a design that I made for the bulletin cover of my father's memorial service. And that one is, I guess, a Celtic Trinity symbol with the 3 points. And I found the verse that I wanted to use, and then since there were 2 other spaces to put writing, I found it, go online and find side-by-side Bibles of English here and Greek here, and found the verse that I wanted, so I just copied it and added it to the design, and the other one's Latin. So, and that one also made into cards. And the next one is a Christmas card design, and I guess I'm kind of hooked on this, this look, but just not much to say about that one. Then the next one is a little more familiar. This was inspired by the door that is to the right of the main door to the sanctuary, and but of course I jazzed it up and Christmas card. And then the next one is another card. It's an Easter card. The dogwood is not as popular as the Easter lily, but it's also an Easter flower. Some people, this one in particular, the photo that I used, the blossoms look very cross-like. I mean, a couple of the petals are longer. It really looks like a cross, but they symbolize the cross, and the little red marks on the tips of the petals. People like to say that it represents the wounds that Christ suffered. And the center could be the crown of thorns. And people like to give imagery to things like that. And then the next one is just kind of a throw in there. These are my grandchildren. And I like to draw our Christmas cards. I almost always do that. So they were my inspiration. And they were actually opening presents at a birthday party in the photos that I used, a couple of photos. And I Scandinavianized it, so family. And the next one is, this is the current, past year, the other one was before that, so they've grown a little bit, and they're kind of Norwegian looking, I guess. And then the next one, I do also do houses and portraits. I especially like to do dog portraits, but I do people portraits, but house portraits. And this one also, the owner of this one is here too. This is Joe Seifel's house. And that was in pen and ink and watercolor, but I do lots of black and white houses also, just black and white paintings. And then the next one is backyard at the Burbage's house with their dog Rusty in it. And that was a gift from Kelly to John. And it was a surprise, so she gave me a key to their house, and I went in the house. Fortunately, the dog was friendly. Came out of the yard and took pictures of him out there, and then chose one and made the painting out of it. And that's a watercolor. And then the last part, these are Sunday school kids. There are more people who can make pictures of St. Matthews. These were just done 2 weeks ago, and there are 4 more on the next slide.
First and second grade, huh?
First and second grade, yeah. I gave them a little cheat trick. It's hard for kids to draw buildings because they have a hard time making the right side look like the left side, and they get kind of wonky looking. So I gave them a piece of paper that had dots, just some key dots, and they had to connect the dots and then do their own designs, and encourage them to use lots of colors and think about patterns rather than just coloring it in solid. That is it. Oh, are there any questions? Oh, yes.
Nancy, how long, when you decide to make a card, how long does it take you, for instance, the cross that was given to the Sunday school teachers on Sunday, how long does it take you to do that?
That one, not very long, because I just wanted to draw a cross. I just started thinking of curved shapes. I sketched it in pencil. Then another thing that I like to do, it's hard to draw straight lines, and I encourage the kids to do this too in Sunday school. Instead of trying to draw a straight line or a curved line, I use dots, and instead of outlining with a solid line, and it's just easier, so that's faster. And then that one didn't take me very long, maybe 4 hours or so. The Christmas card that I made this year, I just could not get my grandson's face right, and I drew that face about 4 times before it, satisfied me. So it just depends. Yes.
The portraits of the animals. You do those for people?
Yes. I love to. People can give me photographs of the animal, or I can come and take a picture of your animal.
And they turn out really good. I have granddogs portraits done, and they will.
That's what I did. I have 3 granddaughters. So I can have them.
Nancy, could you tell us a little bit about your work with respite care clients?
Oh, yes. Thank you for asking.
Results you get.
That's great. I started working here, volunteering here, and I met Rudy when he was a van driver, and we'd go around and pick up participants in West Ashley and all over the place. But then the program moved to, expanded, but the next location that I work at is Redeemer Lutheran Church in West Ashley. And I go and sit with one participant and coach that person through a painting. And the paintings are 8 by 10 on canvas with acrylic paint. And they choose, I select photos that I think will work, foreground that's prominent, say a dog in front of a leafy background or whatever. Or some of them have drawn houses, animals, birds, landscapes, all sorts of things. But by the end of the session, they've got a completed painting, and they really do turn out pretty cool.
It's all about a show.
And there will be, that's it with their fundraiser. Respite Care Charleston has a fundraiser in October, usually the first Thursday. And all the paintings, and this is done at other sites too, North Charleston, All Saints has one there, and the Episcopal Church on Johns Island has a big art show with all the paintings that I've done at the other sites. I just work at the one. And they sell the paintings, and of course the family gets first crack at them. And of course, then they have a silent auction and everything. But it's fun for me because I get to sit and talk And people are really fun to talk to, and they're always hesitant at first. They say, "Oh, I can't do this," but they can. You know, they just need to be told what to do. And I do help them mix the colors, but really, the sketching and the painting it's all their work. Yes, Tony.
Nancy, didn't you draw the heart for the Valentine cards?
Oh yeah, that was another one of those Celtic designs. Yes. Let's see, that was for for World Hunger. Right. Yeah.
Nancy, is any of the work available for purchase? Like the cards or?
It easily could be, just tell me what you want and I can give it for you. And I print up a bunch of them and they'll be in the afternoon tea, tea time treasures in the Outreach Center. Oh, and Cindy has some too. Those are
Door prizes.
Yeah, door prizes. Maybe you'll win.
Thank you so much.
The art show that's coming up in the 175th.
Oh, that's another thing, yes. We're having an art show at St. Matthews in celebration of the 175th anniversary, and this will be Rusty's wife Ann and I are coordinating that, and that will be on display in September. For about 3 weeks in September, we're soliciting artwork from all our artists in the congregation, from adults to teenagers to children. So, and we've done this before when the boutique. We had the Artist Guild display work on the walls to make this little t-shirt look pretty, and the Artist Guild couldn't do it 1 year, so we just put out the call to members of the congregation, and it was amazing. People came out of the woodwork that I never knew drew anything and or painted, and so this is kind of the same thing again. So if you don't come to me, I will hunt you down, because I know who some of them are.
Where will they be displayed?
Our first probability is in the community outreach center on the main floor, but if it gets too big, it might expand over here.
I've got a piece of Mary Bailey's,
Yes.
and I've got a piece of Ivy Turley's, if you want to use those.
Yeah.
I'm just
I'll
worried
talk
about
to
them
you.
getting lost because I treasure them.
Oh, well, we'll take real good care of them, sure. Yeah. And they'll all be labeled with the artists and information about it.
And the last I knew, we still had a big box of rubber stamps stuck somewhere.